You don't have to be in the constant pursuit of a goal or the constant fixing of a problem or the constant need to improve. You are perfectly worthy and valuable as you are right here and now. There is no final destination, there's nowhere to get to. It is just a constant unfolding from one moment to the next, and an unfolding of who we are becoming. I've been thinking a lot about trusting the process. What does it mean to trust the process? And I really think that so much of trusting the process is about trusting ourselves. And I wanted to kind of start off this conversation by saying that that is not something that I can teach anyone to do, is to trust in themselves. That is something that each of us need to discover on our own. And it makes me think of one of my favorite quotes, which is, "It is your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you." And this is from Rumi. I'll leave it up on the screen and in the show notes for anyone listening. So this really is about trusting the road that we are each on, this journey of life that we are each on. It's about trusting the steps that we take each and every day. It's about trusting that when we have a goal or something that we're pursuing, that if that is coming from a pure place, if that is coming from a real, true intention, something that we truly desire on a heart level, from a heart place, then whatever happens, happens. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. And this is something that our minds can really struggle to conceive, to understand that there is so much out of our control, and so much of trusting the process is trusting that things are happening in some sort of greater plan that we can never really understand and never really conceive of, you know. And this is where I want to talk a bit about nature in this conversation, because nature is such a beautiful example of trusting the flow of life, trusting that things are happening exactly as they're supposed to happen. And again, our minds just really struggle with this, because we have all of these ideas of how we think things should look, how we think things should be. I am in a phase right now of my life where there are a lot of unknowns, and I have been for many years. I have not had a stable job. I have not been working in an environment that I show up to each and every day with some sort of familiarity, apart from my home being the place that I show up to each day. So there's been a lot of things falling away, a lot of areas where I tied my sense of self-worth and my identity to the job that I had, how much money I earned, the things that I did, the titles that I carried, friendships that I had, all kinds of different things have really fallen away in the last, I want to say 5 years for me, is when my journey of self-discovery really kind of took a leap, really kind of took off. And it's been the most beautiful journey of coming back home to myself, of reconnecting to parts of myself that I had lost and forgotten, and just this remembering of my spirit, of my true self, my essence. And it's so beautiful, but at the same time it's also messy, and it's really complicated and complex, and there have been so many emotions, and there has been a lot of grieving. Anytime we're letting go of something, it's in some way a form of grief, you know, to release things and to let them go. And it can come in all kinds of different shapes and forms. And so it's been this beautiful, beautiful journey, but it's also been so uncomfortable at times, and it has brought up so much fear and worry and anxiety. As I've been thinking about this idea of trust, of trusting the process, I kind of come to this idea of there being these two different states that we can be in. We can be in a state of trust, of knowing that we're exactly where we need to be, and of trusting that regardless of what's happening around us, and regardless of how difficult it may be and how uncomfortable and painful it may be, that we will be okay. And then there's also this state, on the other hand, of fear, of doubt, of anxiety. And I believe that trust and love and this feeling of centeredness and calm and peace is our true state, is our true nature. But there are just so many things that can take us away from that in our busy, chaotic, stressful day-to-day lives. So many things can pull us away from that trusting presence, that knowing that we are safe and we are okay and we are loved right here and now. And so I've been thinking about all of the different ways that we can kind of pull ourselves back into trust, into trusting the process. And I mentioned before nature, how nature is one of the ways that we can see the patterns and the seasons and the ebb and flow. And I've been learning so much from our vegetable garden. We've been living here in the country for about 6 months now, a little over 6 months, and in this time we've been growing all kinds of different fruits and vegetables, and it's been honestly such a joy to see the process of growing something from, we haven't really grown things from seed yet, but we've grown from seedling, like tiny little seedlings that we've planted, and just watching with small amounts of loving attention each and every day, our garden has grown and has thrived. And some things haven't worked. Some plants, Alex actually did try planting some onion seeds and they never grew, and we didn't really know what happened. But I've heard this saying that, if you plant something and it doesn't grow, you don't judge it, and you don't say hateful things or criticize it. You look at the environment that it was in, and you look at the different elements and the things that may have caused this plant not to thrive, and how this can be a really good reflection of ourselves. How if we don't succeed in something that we set out to do, or if we do feel like we're failing, we shouldn't criticize or judge ourselves. We should look at the circumstances and the environment that we're in, and all the different factors that may have contributed to us not seeing the kind of results that we want to see. And I just think we're so quick to judge ourselves and to blame ourselves when things don't go according to plan. We're so quick to look at what's wrong with us, but we don't always take into consideration all of the different things, the beliefs that we may have picked up from our upbringing, from society, from whatever we may have seen, from our experiences, the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves that may have contributed to us not being able to follow through on something or to achieve the same results that other people may have. Nobody else has been through the same circumstances that you have been through, and so nobody else will have the same results. And this is why comparison is just so futile. Comparing ourselves and our lives to other people is just so futile, because we are each on our own unique journey. And again, going back to this idea of it being our own path, and we're walking it alone, and we are not alone. We have one another, and there are people that will walk along with us on this journey, but it really is our own road to walk, and our own path to discover, and our own beautiful unfolding of who we really are. And I think that this is where we can come into a place of trust, a place of surrender, a place of letting go of some of that doubt and that fear and that anxiety as it arises, because we can see that there is no right or wrong way to do this thing called life. There is no one right way. There's no one right path. And it's just so important for us to remember that only we know what is right for us. Only we can know what it is that we truly desire. Only we can know what it is that's really important to us, what we value. Only we can know the steps we need to take. And so often, so many of the steps that we take go unseen. It's like, again, to use another nature analogy, it's like the tree and how we cannot see the roots that are going underneath the surface. But we see this big, magnificent tree, but we haven't seen all of the energy that it's taken to grow those roots and to grow that foundation and to become stable. And I think that that really goes to show about this work, this inner work that each of us are doing on ourselves as we become more aware, as we practice more self-compassion and self-love, and as we overcome so many obstacles that nobody ever knows about. It's really important to remember that that is just a part of the process. And I think that that can really help us to not give up in those moments where we do lose sight of trusting in ourselves and trusting in life and trusting in the process, is that we just need to keep going. We just need to not give up. That is all that is required of us, is to just keep going. And I've been reading Man's Search for Meaning recently, and I wanted to share a quote. You may have heard of it before. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And I think that this is what it really means to trust ourselves, is to hold on to our spirit and hold on to our faith and hold on to the power that we have to choose how we see any given circumstances in our lives, to not see things as a success or a failure necessarily based on external factors, and to begin to redefine these things for ourselves, to begin to redefine what it means to be successful, to redefine what it means to live a good life. I think that's something that so many of us are being asked right now at this very moment in time, where the world seems to be falling apart and crumbling. I think many of us are being asked to redefine what gives us purpose, what gives our life meaning. And I think that we will find that it is not at all what we have been told that it is. It is, again, I can't speak for anyone else. It's really your own journey and your own path to discover what gives you meaning and what gives your life purpose. And I'm going to talk a lot more about purpose coming up soon, because it's something I've been sitting with and exploring for myself for many, many, many years now. But I will say, I shared about this in the workshop that I recorded. I talked about how we build trust in ourselves and how it really comes to commitment, comes to making promises to ourselves and keeping them, following through on the things that we say we're going to do. And this is how we build trust, seeing when we do take action on something, or we do move in the direction of something based on a genuine desire or intention, and we see that maybe it doesn't pan out the way we want it to, but we can see how much we grow through that process. I think that that is also what helps us to build trust in ourselves, is thinking about examples of in the past where we may have stepped into the unknown, or where we may have persevered through something, or where we may have changed direction, and where we have come out the other side stronger, more resilient, more centered, more in touch with who we really are, more connected to our real selves. That really is, I think, what it means to trust the process. To know that there's no one way to do this life, and we're all just figuring it out for ourselves. So yes, that's all I've got for today. I'm sure we'll talk more about this topic soon, and I really wanted to share an exciting update with you. This is also very scary for me, but exciting. I have been dreaming up this idea of creating some sort of a space where we can come together and I can share these workshops and I can share these meditations and practices and tools that can help you to reconnect with yourself, to help you to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel supported on your own journey of self-discovery and self-expression and self-love and self-compassion and acceptance. And I am creating it, and I'm putting the pressure on myself now to have this up and running by the time this episode goes live. So I have created what is called the Sanctuary. I'm calling it the Sanctuary, and I just have had this dream of creating, I think, this big thing. And because I've made it so big in my mind, I have been putting off actually doing it because it just seems so much bigger than I feel like current me is able to create. But I have created it on Fourth Wall, which is a membership platform. It's also just like a creator platform, kind of like Patreon, where people can sign up to be a member, or you can also purchase products and different things, merchandise, all that sort of thing. And so I've created this space called the Sanctuary where I'm going to be sharing monthly meditations, workshops, sharing different exercises and practices, guided practices to help you, and also bonus content. If I have extended versions of the podcast, if I have extra things that I want to share, that is where I'm going to put it. And so if you're interested, if you'd like to be a part of the Sanctuary, I'll have all of the info down below. I am not going to put pressure on this to be some huge grand thing. I am excited to see where it goes, but I also just feel like I need a space right now to put all of this content that I'm creating, these bonus things that I'm creating for other clients that I think that my audience would really value a benefit from as well. So this is what it's going to be, and I'm excited to see where this journey takes me. I'm excited to see some of you in there and to connect in that way. And we'll probably also do some live guided journaling sessions, intention setting, that sort of thing as well. Once I get my feet and get a bit comfortable with creating this sort of membership, we'll start to do some live things as well, because I know many of you have been asking for live meditations, and I just thought it'd be really nice to do that sort of thing. But yeah, it will take some time. It is a process to create these things. So I'm very excited to let you know about that. And I just really hope that these conversations are supportive, and yeah, I just appreciate you so much. I'm so grateful to have you here. So sending you all my love, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care. Bye.